Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Show, where we take a look at how you approach your work and personal life and how we can make the most out of both of them. A weekly get-together where we get real about self-improvement and development as we all make this not-so-easy journey through life. Our discussions will cover ideas and concepts from how to grow your career to how to lead your family towards prosperity and happiness. We don't pretend to know it all, and the doctor is the first to be vulnerable, discussing his own weaknesses, both past and present. This is about growing together and having some fun while we discuss what is happening in the crazy world we live in and how to make the most of it. Let's strive for awesome together. Let's get after it. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Dr. Leadership Podcast. Happy New Year. Took a couple weeks off actually, but took a week off without loading up any content, as my wife and I took a much-deserved vacation. Touch on that in just a second. But I hope you had an awesome holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever else might be in your religious or celebration background, and hope that was a great time for you. It is the time of year to refresh your personal ideas and how you approach life. So I hope that everything went very, very well for you. We went down and celebrated New Year's. It was the first year in 13 years that we did not have our two daughters with us around Christmas. They celebrated down in the south with the other side of the family. And my wife and I decided we went to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and celebrated New Year's down there and had just an absolute wonderful time. A non-paid advertisement here. The Secrets down there in Vallarta Bay. Absolutely stunning resort. Great food, and the staff, some of the best we've ever experienced, and we have traveled the world. We've been very, very fortunate about that. Travel is important to us. We enjoy it. We like seeing other cultures and interacting with lots of different people, and I would highly recommend the Secrets Resort down in Vallarta Bay. Carlos the butler, outstanding. Humberto and Edgar and Eliu were our hosts at breakfast every morning. Absolutely awesome job. And the view and sunsets, just incredible. Very safe. You can drink the water in Vallarta because they're on the mountainside, and they're one of 17 locations in the world that have the highest water certification. Little information for you. Jeopardy-winning question, hopefully for you someday. Had a great time. The people, awesome. Talk about appreciation and hardworking. Such a refreshing thing versus what we see day in and day out on the news about Americans, people that refuse to work, people that complain about work, all these first world problems that we face. These people are happy with a smile, and just so refreshing. So we had a great time. Hope you had a wonderful holiday as well. Remember, you can reach us via the email at drleadershipresults@gmail.com, or you can give us some feedback on our website or join and subscribe to the Dr. Leadership Podcast through our Patreon site at www.drleadershipresults.com. Click on subscribe, and out you go. It's $5 a month. You get early access, like today's episode is multiple days ahead of the Wednesday drop, and you also get access at the Leadership Lounge. We'll be dropping some great interviews in the coming weeks at the Leadership Lounge as well. So please join. You can cancel at any time, and if one of your New Year's resolutions was to work on self-development, it is a great place to pick up some tidbits from a lot of guests that come on the show. Again, I don't have this all figured out. I'm just reviewing the mistakes I made and the lessons I learned many times. But now I want to jump in. I've been kind of around life a lot lately, and today I want to go into something that's more sales related because I had an engagement on Friday, still on vacation, but sometimes you got to respond to the bell even when you're off. And today what I'm calling is negotiation skills to seal your deal. Negotiating skills is a key skill that needs developed for a salesperson to be able to optimize their results. Let's face it, you've got to be able to sit across the desk from somebody and make the deal happen. Very, very seldom do you hand them a price or a quotation. They go, that's great. Can I pay more? Right? Typically, there's some sort of conversation that needs to happen there. And let's face it, everything in life is about the mighty dollar. And the goal in life, whether it's in business or in a purchase or a sale of something in your personal life, is to keep more of those mighty dollars in your company's pockets versus the person on the other side of the table, be it, again, a business relationship or a personal relationship. And on Friday, I was having to handle some negotiations on a very, very, very large transaction for our company. I'll tell a little bit about that story. I'll leave the names out of it to protect the guilty. But I just wanted to kind of share some of this with you. And this isn't everything about negotiation. You can't cover that in a 30-minute podcast, hours upon hours, because it's situational. Right? But I'm going to talk about a few key components in life that'll help you get along with others and to make engagements happen. In my career, which is 33 years now, I'm in my 34th year, believe it or not. In my 33 years of sales and sales leadership, I have literally negotiated thousands of transactions. In my personal life, I've bought and sold dozens of cars, a dozen homes. This is the 11th home I've built. I've rented a couple properties, leased a couple properties, etc. I've hired people to do lots of things for me, finish a basement. I've finished some of my own basements as well. I am a handy guy, believe it or not. And, you hire people to do yard work. You hire people to do a house painting. You hire people to do house clean, whatever it might be. And in the beginning, my negotiation skills were very rudimentary. First of all, I didn't really like to have to do it. And that's a lot of people, and same as my main reason, looking back on it. The main reason was a complete fear and a lack of confidence, right? I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to ask them. Maybe I'm not supposed to ask. There's certain things that you don't negotiate, right? You don't negotiate the price of the pastor to do your wedding. That one kind of came to mind quickly out of nowhere. But lots of other things, there is room to negotiate. Many times in your personal life, hey, what if I pay cash instead of write you a check? Because that can be advantageous to people. What if I pay cash instead of using a credit card? They're going to save 2.5%, 3% on the credit card transaction. Why wouldn't they pass that on to you if you're paying cash? There's all sorts of little things that you'll learn over life. But my confidence was low. And a lot of people are very insecure in having what they perceive as a hard conversation. And confidence is the key component you must possess to be successful in negotiating anything. It's the number one factor. If there's a golden rule to negotiating, it's acquiring and maintaining confidence. Whether confidence being a key component of negotiating anything, with confidence being a key component of negotiating anything, how does one go about building or being confident? Information, write this one down. If you're driving, write it down later. Information is power. Information is power. Myself, after thousands of interactions and being in my specific industry for, now over 30 years, there are probably, and this isn't braggadocious, but there are probably very few that have more information about anything I would be negotiating about with a customer or prospect than me in my industry. It's time, it's the expertise developed, it's all the experts I have around me, it's seeing thousands of situations in the same environment, the same offerings, etc. Now, confidence and information between your ears should never let you be cocky or rude. I talk about this a lot. There's a thin line between self-confidence and cockiness, and you don't want to get over that, especially in negotiating, because you can turn people off quickly. Be cognizant of your temperament, in other words. Be cooperative. Be kind. But show through your response and discussions that you have a complete handle on what's being discussed. People, there's other negotiating tactics that people use that aren't well trained in negotiating. And they're kind of like the bad cop, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. They try to come right at you and get you on your heels. And the way to take on any of that, it's like taking on a bully. You stand up and you stand your ground and you say, I'm sorry, that's just not something that we can do. Or the power of the no and direct no is very, very powerful in negotiating. We all get better over time, too. So I said I was going to talk about this a little bit. I had a situation on Friday where a very large transaction, a customer that's been ours for 20 years. And we've been working on an upgrade here with them, a significant upgrade, multiple millions of dollars. And man, they are just paralysis through analysis. It's just unbelievable. And it's amazing to me that this company is surviving because it's just such paralysis. But there's 8 people, and the VP of IT procurement was on, and this young lady, she was on there to play the bad cop. And this is what I mean. She tried to get us on the heels, and I was brought on specifically to handle the kind of the conversation. And right away starts interrupting the conversation quickly, just throwing objections out. In the first 5 minutes, I bet she interrupted the conversation 4, 5, 6 times. And we're realigning our new offering to the new economic world we're in. And think about the new world we're in, right? We've got hyperinflation. The Fed has raised the interest rates a dozen times, and we are adjusting our service level agreements, and our pricing's going up. And she tried to state that, so we're adjusting down our SLAs, our service level agreements, but we're going from a 24/7 service model to an 8-hour-a-day service model. So it going down 1 percentage point. Actually, our service level is stronger because downtime was measured against an 8-hour day now instead of 24 hours a day. And she tried to accuse us that we're not standing behind our service SLAs. And I said, in fact, we're improving them. I need to interrupt you. That's what I said. Because we need to establish a baseline here of what's really going on. And I took the time and the information that I had, and I knew the information better than anybody on the phone. And she tried to say, well, we benchmarked it. And I said, well, who did you benchmark it with? Well, we benchmarked it with other people in your industry. Well, the problem is that the solution we're offering you and the service abilities that we're offering you, no one else in the industry can do. And actually, I lead this organization nationally for us and am involved in international SLAs, and the industry standard is actually 5 percentage points lower than we're providing to you. We're well above the industry average. And she goes, well, I don't want to argue about it. And I said, no, I'm not arguing about it. I'm just stating fact from it. I have not been requested to benchmark here, but I would just let you know that this is actually the case. And when you look at it holistically, and she goes, well, I don't want to talk about an algorithm that spits out what's better. And I said, it's not an algorithm, it's just math. And I simplified it down so much to say that not only, and I didn't say it this way, but I proved to 8 people on the phone that not only are you being rude and interruptive, but your data's not accurate. And your accusation of us not standing behind it is not only not genuine and accurate, but it's actually the opposite. She had to leave the call 10 minutes later because of another call. And I think the reason she left the call was because, and it's not about putting her tail between her legs, or I was trying to do that, because again, you have to watch your temperament and those types of things. And I was consciously calm in all my responses. I'm going to call her Beth. That wasn't her name. I say, Beth, actually, let me talk for a moment, please. Just let me talk for a couple minutes here. So first of all, I was saying, stop interrupting in a very kind manner. I need you to listen for a moment, and now let me answer your perceptions, because they aren't accurate. And I did say that. And what I did is, with confidence and with control, took command back of the interaction. Now, when you're negotiating, there are gives and takes. I'm not here to just stand my ground and say we're not going to give anything. What I had in my pocket was a little givey to them, where their SLAs, we had taken down 3 percentage points, 98% uptime down to 95, but again, was equal to the 98% based on an 8-hour day versus a 24-hour day. Because if the system isn't working for 2 hours in a 24-hour day, you're under 10% down. If I'm down 2 hours in an 8-hour day, I'm down 25% of the time. So me to hit 95% SLAs on an 8-hour day is higher than a 90. And everybody on the phone, this other VP went, oh, I understand what you're saying. You're right. So I got her own people to state, hey, Beth, he's right. So, but I gave a give me. We were at 95, and I said, actually, we're willing to go to 97% because you've been a 20-year customer. This is a proven relationship. Well, we're just not comfortable. I said, are you going to be comfortable with somebody that doesn't know your business? Well, no. Are you going to be comfortable with someone that can't provide service at your 26 locations across the U.S.? Well, other people can provide service there. Yeah, by using 10 different companies, dealerships and things. No one can do it directly. Dealerships don't offer 24/7 service. They don't have enough customers to do it in their little local markets. So we're giving the farm away here. Well, your payment's gone up. Well, you've asked us to use a 48-month term on the finances on the CapEx versus 60-month. Would you like to go to 60-month? And if you aren't comfortable with 8-hour service, we've given you a proposal for 24/7 still at $65,000 more a month. You can choose that. See, what she was trying to accomplish was, I'm going to hammer him because I carry the VP of IT title, and I'm going to squeeze him. And what I stated about the third sentence is, there will be no other gives in this conversation. We've been working on this for 6 months. This is our best and final offer. If you choose that this isn't good enough, I respect that. We will be talking about this again, and if we go through an RFP process, my price is going to go up. The other thing she stated, and this is another, she goes, well, I brought up hyperinflation and Fed rates, et cetera, and she goes, well, those are your headwinds. I'm the customer. Those aren't our headwinds. And I go, are the $6 eggs just the farmer's headwinds, or are those our headwinds? Because you still pay $6 for eggs for inflation. Is a $5 gallon of milk on the cow? Or is it on everybody that drinks milk? These aren't just expenses for us. These are expenses for everyone. She stated, I'm a 1 to 3% margin business. I said, so are we. We're actually break even on this transaction when it's all said and done. I can raise my prices if you'd like. I'm going to talk about that more in a minute. It's a great approach to negotiating when someone's trying to go all price. So the net on this is confident with complete respect to the people in the conversation, not condescending. You have to be very careful of your temperament, but by having this data and understanding what the information was and what we were actually offering and neutering her approach to bad cop quickly, the expertise level that I was perceived as having rose. Now, at the end, they said, we may need to get even higher level executives on to have this conversation. I said, I cherish the opportunity. Let me know who we need to speak to. If it's CEO, whoever, that's fine. We love the relationship, but just let whoever else is coming on. If they just want to feel better about it, I'd be happy to explain it. The pricing will not be adjusted. So if they are coming with expectation of that, we don't need to have the conversation. Go ahead and do an RFP. Confidence. Information is king. Information is power. When you have those in your pocket, negotiating becomes a lot easier. Now, you always want to be cooperative. This isn't about I'm the big guy in the room or I'm the big gal in the room. I don't want you to misinterpret this. But by having those attributes in your possession, the conversation is going to go in your favor more often than not. Some people don't like that. Some people just think, I got to squeeze, I'm going to get on, and if I don't get a drop out of the lemon, I'm not going to do business with them. And that's fine. We've had 17 conversations, so all the drops are out of the lemon on this one. And sometimes you do give a little bit, right? I'll tell you what. I'll talk about it in a minute, actually. Open-ended questions and listening skills are critical here too. So typically, now I'm not on the example I was given Friday. Now I'm talking back to the typical. I'm not giving an example of what just happened. But typically the first objection given is not really the underlying issue. So what you need to do is you need to peel the onion back on what the customer or prospect is saying the issue is. Ask a lot of probing questions. And what I refer to here is be the young child with the word why. Over and over until you find the root cause. We're just not ready to make a decision here today. Well, if I may ask, why is it you're not ready? What is it you aren't comfortable with? Well, we're just not sure the product is the right product for us. I'm just shooting from the hip here. Well, why exactly do you feel the product isn't the right product? Give me some examples so we can have a conversation about your discomfort and see if we can't find an area of comfort. And if it's not the right product, we certainly can adjust, but why do you feel it's not the right product? It's kind of like talking politics with the people that are only in it for their emotions. I feel bad or my feelings are hurt or whatever. Well, and I'm going to vote for this person because so-and-so's bad. Well, why is so-and-so bad? Well, he's just bad. Well, why? You evidently have given this lots of thought. So you're setting them up to think, have I given lots of thought? It's so easy for you to see here. Just give me some examples. You have to have dozens off the top of your head. Give me some examples of the why you won't, or why this isn't. Back to the example here. Get to the root cause. The other thing that's really important is you have to build trust in your offering here. Many times people will find, many times people will focus on the what if the catastrophic happens. That really goes back to Friday. We just aren't comfortable. We aren't comfortable. There is no way that what you were saying could happen is going to happen. So why are you focusing on the what if instead of the 99.99% of the resolution is solid? When in fact the likelihood may be literally zero on what you're worrying about. Keep the other party focused to your strengths when you're negotiating and the concerns or the problems you're offering to solve. Again, don't focus on a product. Focus on what you're solving. We talked about that in giving out offerings and proposals and things. Don't focus on the product. Focus on the resolution you're bringing. Don't fight their fight. Fight your fight. Know your competition well. Know how you can lock them out and create a must-have to your client or prospect around you and your solution. That's what you're looking for in negotiations. That's what you're looking for in your proposal. If you've done everything right up through doing needs analysis and validation and understanding their problems and developing the right solution set, providing a proposal that's fair and market bearing as far as a comparison and pricing, you can be 10% higher, 5% higher, 2% lower. That's all market fair in my mind. 10 to 15% higher if you have value is a fair price. But make sure you're creating must-haves around your solution where no one else can come in and do it. You got to become the crack to the crack baby here. I've got to do business with them. I feel safe. Keep the negotiation away from price and focus on cost. And those are two very different words. The cost of not choosing you. What's going to happen when something goes bad if you chose the low price provider? They offer a low price because there's something not in it for you. On a personal negotiation, on a commodity, you're buying a car or life insurance or something like that in your life, you push a different way here. Prices, it's commoditized, right? I mean, somebody's selling eggs down the street for 10 cents less a dozen. There's probably no problem in going and buying the dozen eggs. But when you're talking business applications and problem solving and increasing their return on investment to a faster rate or to improving their customer experience, that's worth something. In a business case, create FUD, F-U-D, fear, uncertainty, and doubt about your competition and the others. I used to always say this, no one knows the value of their offering more than the one pricing it. If it's cheap, it probably stinks. If they're willing to do it for that much less, something's wrong. Did your mom and dad ever teach you if something's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true? Name something in your life where you just got it so cheap that it ended up being what you thought it was going to be. See, when you focus on price, or when you let the negotiations focus on price, it's a lost endeavor. It's a lost endeavor. Be open-minded, but make sure you have a business discussion, not an emotional one. When people continuously push on price, I use an approach such as asking them what they think a fair margin would be for my services. If you were in my shoes, what do you think a fair price would be? And they will always say something like this. Oh, I think 15 to 20% margin would be fair. And I will then say, well, I would love to raise my price to that point, but I am willing to accept a lower margin if we can agree to move forward as proposed today. You've done two things. One is you've neutered it and you've said to them, I'm taking less than what you feel's fair. See, they can't turn on themselves. People won't let their heads do that. They won't come back and say, well, I was just kidding. You're only worth 5%. I meant to say 5%. They aren't going to do that. People are so damn proud even when they're wrong, they won't admit they're wrong. The other thing you've done is you've just used it as a closing opportunity. I am willing to take a smaller margin than that for you today if we move forward today. Or I can go back and I can adjust the proposal and raise it. You give me an hour, I'll be back with a higher price proposal and you can sign off on that. I appreciate you feeling that I have shown you that much worth. See how you've done this? You have suddenly taken them, painted them in a quarter they can't turn away. This will shut down price talk typically. If not, and they push more and more on the lowest price, then you have to be willing to do and be brave and use the ultimate tool of negotiation. This is where people get really uncomfortable. See, the ultimate tool of negotiation is the willingness to walk away. Yeah, I said it. It feels scary. But if you always drop your price, you will always be minimized in your value. If they can always go to the well with you, you aren't a partner any longer. You're just a commodity provider, man. Go hit Brent up. Go hit Dr. L, man. He'll give you another 5%. It's a sign of weakness. It's also a sign that you don't believe you're worth anything. Some people can't afford to do business with me or you. And I've said that as well. Well, I'm sorry. What's clear here is that we're just not going to get a point of mutual benefit. And it's clear that you're looking for the lowest price, and the affordability to do business with me just isn't there on this transaction. I really appreciate the opportunity talking to you about it. And I actually have some wholesalers that I could give you some numbers on and some used equipment, because it looks like maybe financially you're just in a spot where you got to find the cheapest way to do this. I'd be happy to provide you some names and some phone numbers. We can actually call them right now if you'd like. And, it might be dinged up and stuff. It may not be running all the time, but, maybe that's what you're after. Yeah, I've said that. This will shake them. You might not win this one, but you will bottom out the competitors, which is always fun. Well, so-and-so has got a lower price than you. Well, I'm sure they do. They're typically 40 to 50% less than us because they just don't have the value play. Now, in your mind they're always only 10% less. But two things have just happened. That customer thinks, my cousin uses this one all the time. We talk about this and just laugh and laugh. All of a sudden they're thinking, well, they're only 10% less. The competition must be trying to hose me. Oh, yeah, guys, they're always 50% less. Call them up, man. If they aren't 50% less, be careful. They're trying to make you the good one for their business. All these things create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD. If you leave and go down to the lowest bottom dollar, it's not going to be good. If you stand up and walk away, you're leaving with your pride. Go close the good deal down the street. I refuse to be a bottom feeder. I refuse. Why do it? Hone your skills. Be confident. Information is power. Be confident. Be very, very cooperative. Watch your tone of voice. Don't be minimizing to them. Don't be degrading to them, but stand with conviction of the why they need to do business with you. Use why also in open-ended questions to find out the root cause of what they're really looking for. But if you come prepared for the conversation, you give a little bit, they should give a little bit. It's like when you're doing, when you're trying to do needs analysis and things. You don't always have to be the one that only one that walks away from the table with action items. Give action items to the customer. Hey, I'm going to go back. I'm going to put the proposal together. And if you can go ahead and get the people lined up that can make the decision for the meeting and just send me their names, I'll include them on the invite for the next meeting. We'll be ready to go. I gave them an action item. Bring the person beside yourself that can make the call. Bring me the gal that can make the call. Give action items to them. Be confident. Power is knowledge. Be open-minded. Stand your ground. Be willing to walk away. And if you use these 4 or 5 basic things. There's lots of steps to negotiation. Again, can't handle all in 30 minutes. I'll touch on it again down the road. But if you take these 4 or 5 things, you're going to be awesome. And you're going to keep that shit up. Talk next week. See ya.